In today's world, you need an amazing website to make a real impact for your company. After all, a good first impression can make or break your business. TheSoftCode.com is your one-stop shop for all your needs. They specialize in professional web design and development. Their mission is to improve their clients' online footprint by creating better user experiences. TheSoftCode.com offer custom web design services, including branding, e-commerce, mobile app development, search engine optimization, and a whole lot more. TheSoftCode.com has a step-by-step process to ensure you are completely satisfied. Visit their website right now and learn what they can do for you. TheSoftCode.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. I don't know if you all will be able to tell or not, but I have a cold. I got tested for COVID. Okay, got tested for COVID on Friday. I don't have COVID. I have a cold. And Kathy and I have been keeping our distance. On the last episode, Kathy was on the phone. I was in the studio. And I don't want to get Kathy sick with my cold. So
he's been sleeping on the couch the last 3 nights.
I've been sleeping on the couch. And what we're doing now is we've left our podcast studio and we are in our backyard, actually.
Yeah, on the back porch.
Recording this podcast. I don't know if you guys will be able to tell. But if it sounds a little different, that's why. All right, well, listen, there's a lot going on. There's a lot to talk about, no doubt about that. And, this story is all over the place about Joe Rogan and Michelle Obama. And let me just read this to you, and then I'll tell you what's going on here. This is out of the Daily Mail. Podcast host Joe Rogan has backed Michelle Obama to beat Donald Trump if she decides to run in 2024, in the presidential election, Michelle Obama. Now, I'll tell you what's going on here. I'll read the rest of the article, but I'll tell you what's going on with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's trying to get an interview with Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama has not done a lot of interviews. Things she's done have been very polished and pre-planned and very corporate.
Why does he want to get an interview with her?
Because that's a big deal. She has never really done an interview like that. It's a big deal, and he would probably get a few million views just on that one interview. It's a big deal to get an interview with her for him. I'm not interested in interviewing Michelle Obama, but that's what this is about. And
he has as much a chance as that as Fox getting an interview with Joe Biden.
Don't be so sure about that. And I've been hearing people for years talk about Michelle Obama running for president like they used to talk about with Hillary. I don't know why people think, one, that she would be not just Donald Trump, but anybody, or that she'd be a good president. Michelle Obama has never had a job. She had one job. It was a fake job. She had this job. And
with liberals, that doesn't matter.
No. People change. She had one job that was a fake job in Chicago. She had this job with the hospital district that paid pretty well. And her boss was Valerie Jarrett. It was a fake job. It's one of those jobs, one of those political patronage jobs. She's never had a job. She's
kind
never
of like Secretary of Transportation.
Less than that. She's done nothing. So I don't know why people would think she'd be good at anything.
They floated this around before.
Hillary has more work experience than her. Yeah. She worked at the law firm where she, hit all the records, the Rose Law Firm.
And remember, Joe Biden was trying to get Michelle to be his running mate.
Yeah.
So this is an ongoing theme that's been going on for quite a while in politics. I really don't think the Obamas have an interest in getting mired back into the political life. But you never know. If she really thinks she can win, that's a tempting thing to be the first female, and not to mention black president. That's a big deal.
First female black. We've already had a black president.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The first female and black president, and her husband was president. I mean, that's pretty damn historical.
Well, actually,
so that might be tempting for her.
Barack Obama's biracial. She is not biracial. She's black. She's African American. So she'd be the first fully African American president. Let me get back to this. Is the Daily Mail.
A lot of people think she should run.
Joe Rogan said the only thing that could prevent victory for the former First Lady would be if she showed any support for lockdowns and mandates and all that craziness.
That's a losing strategy.
This is what I mean about him trying to get an interview. She's great. She's articulate. She's intelligent. She's the wife of the best president we have had in our lifetime. She can win, Joe Rogan said.
He thinks Obama is the best. Well, that tells you a lot about him.
I will throw this out to you.
That is nuts.
Because I know Democrats listen to this program. In the comments, tell me one good thing, one positive accomplishment of Barack Obama's 8 years in the White House.
And you can't say getting elected.
No.
Because I remember when that happened, and that was like what a lot of people would say, well, the first black president, that's a big deal. That's not what we mean. It's a big deal. But once he won, when he was in the Oval Office, what's something he did that was
positive for the American people? Yeah. And it was not taking out Osama bin Laden. That was a mistake. Osama bin Laden, now this is just my belief, and I think a lot of people agree with this. Do you all really think that Osama bin Laden was living in that compound with his harem for years and years and years, and the CIA did not know about it? The U.S. government knew where bin Laden was for years, and it was a source of intelligence, okay? They were getting intelligence on al-Qaeda and him for years from there.
The guys that broke in that SEAL team, and that guy that's always on Fox, they're the ones who should get the credit for that. He just told them to do it, but I don't think he was behind
it was a mistake.
Operation.
It was a mistake taking out bin Laden, because when they took out bin Laden, they took out a source of intelligence information against the terrorists. And he just did that because he was worried about re-election. Mm-hmm. He had no accomplishments, so he had to create one. Goes on here. Joe Rogan joked that Michelle Obama, age 57, I thought she would have been older than that by now.
No, they're not that much older than us.
She could team up with Kamala Harris.
Now that, there you go. Yeah, please. That would be definitely a losing. There's no way she would choose her as her running mate.
There have been rumors for years that Kamala Harris and Barack Obama have had a thing. And that's how she got picked to be VP, was through Barack Obama. And
they're old friends.
And even if it's not true, Michelle knows about the rumors, doesn't want Kamala
That's
around.
not going to happen.
Speaking on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, Joe Rogan said, sounds like a press release. It's this in the Daily Mail. Speaking on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, he said that a Republican super team lining up against the pair, Kamala and Michelle, would be Trump and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
No way in hell. First of all, the problem with that equation is Kamala. Nobody likes her. She's a loser.
No.
She is not good with anybody. It doesn't matter who they put her with. That's a bad combination. So, but I do think, and I said this before, I do feel, regardless of her lack of experience, Michelle Obama would give Trump a run for his money. I don't think she'd win.
Yeah.
But if he was with DeSantis, they'd be unbeatable. Unfreaking beatable, those two.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's
Trump
no way.
DeSantis?
No way. Nobody could beat them.
No, they're the best.
That would be the dream team.
Yeah. Joe Rogan went on to say that Obama, that's Michelle Obama, could clinch the White House. Now, again, this is a woman who's had no job, zero responsibilities, she hasn't done anything in her life.
Well, she did take food away from kids in schools.
Yeah. Joe Rogan said that Michelle could clinch the White House as long as she avoided the pro-lockdown, anti-business policies, which the Democrat Party has embraced. The only thing that would stop her is if she brought in some of these policies that are destroying businesses in America, that are making people scared. If she somehow or another supported or showed any support for lockdowns and mandates, all this craziness is going on, it'd be over for her, and it goes on and on.
I just don't think she's going to run. I think they're done with politics.
Well, something has changed, okay? Something has changed with people. And Donald Trump changed a lot. And one of the things Donald Trump changed is that people expect a president and a vice president to be doers. They don't want a spokesmodel. They want some with a clean desk. They want somebody in there who's going to work and do things like Trump did. Mm-hmm. And Michelle Obama, you know what she's going to be. She's just going to be a spokesmodel posing for Vanity Fair covers all day.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like her husband.
So that's what people expect. And Trump changed the expectations that people have for politicians in general. People are, like Mayor Pete. If Mayor Pete were around 10 years from, like back in the Obama era, if he was around 10 years ago, he would be like a big superstar now. But it's not enough to say, I'm gay, vote for me, I should be this, I should be that, I'm gay.
That stuff you're right, that stuff's not a big deal anymore.
No.
And it falls on deaf ears because it's like, now it seems like everybody's gay.
Yeah, now.
So who cares?
Exactly. I always say what is controversial now is if someone comes out of the closet as straight. Exactly I say that all the time. Right. That joke never gets old because it's true. It's true. Now, I just want to take a side track here on something we don't talk about too much on the program. This new Matrix movie, and it does apply to things that are going on here. And I was a little confused. I did watch the new Matrix movie. It is, spoiler alert, it sucks, okay? It's just...
It's too bad because I really like Keanu Reeves.
Now, that's just my opinion.
He's good
in it. Keanu Reeves is good in it. And
nice guy.
The actress from the original trilogy, she's very good too.
Yeah.
The actors are very good in it. But the script is terrible. The story's terrible. It's a lot like when they brought back the Star Wars movies. It's almost like a remake of the original Matrix. It's very strange. And I was very confused about it because I'm a fan of the original Matrix trilogy, especially the first one. I've seen the first one many, many times. The first 3 Matrix movies are just very, very good. And I was a little confused about this. And maybe you all were not, but I was confused because I remember when the Matrix came out, I would hear about the Wachowski brothers. I guess that's how you pronounce the name, the Wachowski brothers. They did the Matrix. And then I heard that the director of the new Matrix movie is Lana Wachowski. And I thought, well, is this their sister? Is it one of their wives? I couldn't quite figure it out. I did not know. I don't follow these things. And I was watching on television a red carpet event with the new Matrix, had Keanu Reeves and everything. And Lana Wachowski was on the red carpet, walked up to these guys and did an interview. And I realized just then and there that Lana Wachowski used to be Larry, and listen to that. And there's a reason why they made this movie, and it's this new Matrix movie was made because of Donald Trump. I'll tell you in a minute, but I just to read the beginning of the Wikipedia. Okay, Lana Wachowski, formerly known as Larry Wachowski, and Lily Wachowski, formerly known as Andy Wachowski, are American film and television directors, writers, and producers. The sisters are both trans women. So the 2 brothers are now 2 sisters. Isn't that insane? The 2 brothers are now 2 sisters.
Wait, they're both transgender?
They are both trans now. Yeah, okay. The 2 brothers, the Wachowski brothers are no more. They're now the Wachowski sisters.
Both of them.
And I don't mean they've become like African American or nuns either. They're both trans. They're both trans.
That is, what are the odds?
Yeah, and see, this is the deal.
So hold on.
Yeah.
Are they twins?
No, they were born 2 years apart.
Okay, so you have 2 brothers born 2 years apart. They're not twins. Yes. So they're.
Yeah,
I don't
confusing.
know if there's. So they both decided, or both have now are switching genders.
They have. They both have. Lana used to be Larry.
Wow.
And Lily used to be Andy. So it's like okay. And
wow.
Yeah, and
I don't even know what to say about that.
I watched the movie just because I was a fan of the original. And the movie's awful. It is just awful. But they made the movie for 2 reasons. One is Donald Trump, which I'll tell you about in a moment. But the other one, the Wachowski brothers, who are now the Wachowski sisters, it's very confusing America we're in right now. This Biden's America, very confused.
The question is, do they both still have penises?
I don't know. It doesn't tell me that in the Wikipedia.
Then they're still brothers.
But no, they're ladies now. But anyway, forgetting about that.
Ladies don't
They
have
made the movie
penises.
for 2 reasons. The one reason is I think they wanted – see, they've made a lot of things since The Matrix nobody cares about. They do things on Netflix. Nobody cares. I think they did the Matrix movie 2 reasons. One is so they could be on the red carpet.
Have like a big coming
as
out.
Their women, as their trans
like
self.
A coming out party.
Yeah, I think they wanted to be recognized on the red carpets as a big deal as trans people. Right. So I think that's one. But the other one is this, and it's all about Donald Trump. The original Matrix movie, okay, the first one, I know the trilogy, but the first one, they have the blue pill and the red pill. And Kathy, you were telling me about this way back in 1999. You got to give me
credit for this.
When this came out in 1999.
I told you this last night, so give me credit.
Yeah. And if you stay in the Matrix, you take the blue pill. If you leave the Matrix, you take the red pill to get out of the Matrix.
And the red pill is reality.
Yes.
Is reality.
That's right. Red pill is reality. The blue pill is you're in the Matrix. You don't know what the hell's going on. You live in a fantasy world.
Right.
And that original movie is about Republicans and Democrats. Yeah. There's no getting around it. It's about Republicans and Democrats. And the original Matrix came out, I think, in 99, and then the red state, blue state thing is not new. The red state, blue state thing has been going on for many decades. I've seen
even been around before that.
Back in the 70s. But after the 2000 election with Gore and G.W. Bush, it became like a bigger thing, like more commonly talked about. red and blue states. And a lot of people, when, like we were talking about Candace Owens on the last show, when Candace Owens became a Republican, she says, I was red-pilled, this whole new thing about being red-pilled. And the Wachowski sisters that used to be the Wachowski brothers, you know, Kathy and I were talking about this last night, and Kathy said this first before I said it, and we were talking about it. It makes a lot of sense. The Wachowski brothers obviously are not conservatives. They're trans women, okay?
I don't know. Caitlyn Jenner's a conservative.
Maybe. You never know. Maybe there's this secret MAGA trans group, you know, with Caitlyn Jenner and these brothers, sisters.
It's a very, very, very exclusive group.
But I think that the studio, the movie studio, Hollywood, wanted to. This is what we were talking about last night. Wanted to take back the ownership of red pill and blue pill. They don't like the idea that MAGA has taken the red pill and as our own thing.
Well, because in this new movie, from what you're telling me, I didn't see it. You said they're trying to tell a different story as to what the red, blue, and the pill and the blue pill represent.
Yeah,
they're trying to make it as if the movie studio or something is involved, and they're trying to make it non-political. The red pill, blue pill scenario, because everybody knows what it really is. So I said to you, maybe they made this movie because they wanted to change how people view the whole red pill, blue pill thing. I mean, that could be crazy, but, you know, Hollywood's a crazy place.
It's a lot about that because, you know, red pilling has been something that MAGA has embraced big time.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, I was red pilled then.
So they're trying to change that dialogue, change it where red pilling isn't associated with the Matrix.
The problem is no one cares about this movie, and the movie's awful, so it's not going to work.
No.
Most people will not even see this movie or even know that they've tried to change the meaning of getting red pilled or blue pilled. Like anything.
When you told me the plot and the story, I was like, that just is the first thing that came to my mind. So if you've seen the movie, let us know if you agree that they're trying to change.
I'm not going to go through the movie
the whole
plot,
red pill, blue pill narrative into something
but that's what
totally
they're doing.
Different.
Yeah, it's a very bizarre plot. I'm not going to go into it, but you guys can watch the movie if you want.
Like it seems like to me that maybe they didn't realize the intent, or whoever wrote the script, or maybe it wasn't intended to mean that, like in a political sense, where red and blue.
The Matrix is a conservative movie,
and maybe
no doubt about it.
But maybe that wasn't their intention, but it became that way inadvertently, and they're upset that that's what's. But now that's a big reference for people, and they're trying to change that.
Yeah,
you know, liberals are all into changing the narrative, changing the wording, things like that. That's how they operate.
Well, they're going to lose on this one too. All right, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there is a lot more to talk about. Do not go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be back right after this.
Many times we hear that crises are opportunities, but to understand this, it's necessary to change the focus of how we see the context. This way, we can notice the ways that allow us to undertake what we think of as the new and what we want to manifest in our universe. The book from author Christian Franchini, Creativity in Times of Pandemic, available on Amazon, provides readers with 11 keys to develop your creative potential. Keys that you can implement in your daily life and discover a new universe of possibilities that will propel you towards the singularity of being. Since we can understand creativity as a key to a new state of consciousness that connects us with infinite alternatives, this requires reformulating the old patterns of information and beliefs to enhance the creative process in all its dimensions. This must-read book is a great gift for anyone who wants to manifest a new beginning in their life. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Creativity in Times of Pandemic, from author Christian Franchini. There's no doubt, today more than ever, we all need a little uplifting. Times are scary, and the world can seem lonely and frightening, but God is always present. God loves us and wants us to know He is here and always there when we need Him. The Warriors for Christ podcast seeks to uplift, edify, and encourage you to be the light and salt in a dark and tasteless world. They have new episodes weekly. Be sure to subscribe and share the Warriors for Christ podcast with your friends and family. Find the Warriors for Christ podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Player FM, Stitcher, Deezer, Amazon Podcast, and on their website, warriorsforchrist.podomatic.net. That's the number 4, warriorsforchrist.podomatic.net. Warriors for Christ, letting the Bible speak and teach for itself. Imagine if you could combine your love of crypto with just about any vanity or lifestyle theme. Well, now you can at StellarShop.org. Stellar Shop brings themes to life in cryptocurrency and is the originator of vanity and lifestyle money in the new and exciting world of cryptocurrency. Align your money with causes you care about, like dolphins and sea turtles or anything in between. From Woodstock to medbeds, they have over 100 to choose from, so you can buy, sell, trade, or swap crypto on the Stellar XLM network. Stellar Shop also has over 20 charity themes that benefit from your usage. Grab your favorite Stellar wallet and join the revolution and the future of money through blockchain quantum finance. Stellar Shop also sets up custom-made business crypto and payment systems for any business. Get in on the crypto craze, and maybe you can be the one telling that next crazy crypto story. Visit StellarShop.org today for vanity and lifestyle crypto assets. That's StellarShop.org. Have you ever dreamed of being wealthy using real estate? If you answered yes, there's a podcast you will want to add to your playlist. Big Fat Real Estate Checks, hosted by Marco Kozlowski. Available on all podcast platforms. It's a podcast about investing in U.S.-based multifamily real estate. If you want to replace your JOB income with passive income for life, host Marco Kozlowski's proprietary systems and processes can help you get there. And you don't necessarily need money or credit to do it. Marco has been in real estate for over 20 years and has learned lessons, horror stories, and an entertaining and fun way of teaching you how to win the game of cash flowing real estate without breaking the bank, without risk, and without using any of your credit. He has hundreds of successful students who used his systems and processes to replace their income and retire. Check it out today and learn from Marco. His podcast is filled with valuable information that you can actually use. You will learn how to build real, generational wealth. No get-rich schemes here. At Big Fat Real Estate Checks with host Marco Kozlowski to your playlist right now. Available wherever you listen to podcasts.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you are listening to us on. All right, so Dr. Oz announced a few weeks ago that he was running for the Senate in Pennsylvania as a Republican, and immediately you start finding out all kinds of things about Dr. Oz. Everyone liked Dr. Oz when he's doing his magazine health show that nobody really thinks too much about. Although I haven't watched that show in many years, it seemed that he talked a lot about going to the bathroom, and he had, I could be wrong about this, I think he had Gwyneth Paltrow on, who came on and talked about the shape of her. It
was Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz?
Yeah, they actually had.
Don't say the word.
I don't watch his show, but I saw this clip. They actually had models
of her number twos,
of different types of excrement. Like, it looked realistic, and they had like 5 or 6 different types, and she pointed to what hers looks like.
Oh my gosh, Cameron Diaz. It was very weird.
I couldn't believe what I was watching.
I remember
He's obsessed with the digestive system.
Yeah, it's very, very strange, but I never really thought or cared too much about him. And then immediately when he announces he's running for the Senate as a Republican, you find out he's not really a conservative. He's said some things against the Second Amendment. And you know, it's just,
I don't think he knows what he is either.
No, but you know, during the pandemic, he was on Fox every day. I mean, like really at the height of the pandemic. And I thought he gave some very good analysis during all of that. And it was, he was good then. But now that he's involved in politics, it's just, he is
I've seen commercials
going to destroy his career.
I've seen commercials with him, and he's too fake. He comes across very fake. And somebody had written in a thing that he seems like a guy who's read all the Republican talking points and he just spews them out. He doesn't seem authentic or sincere, and I agree with that. I like Dr. Oz, but I don't know if he is this way. I'm just saying, to me, he comes across very insincere, and I'm not saying he isn't sincere, but that's how he comes across.
Yeah.
I don't know who he's going to be running against. It'll be interesting to see. He does have celebrity on his side, and when he starts speaking publicly, like going to events, who knows how he'll be received? He might be very good. He's comfortable on camera. He's a well-educated guy. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure he'll be on TV a lot doing interviews. It'll be interesting to see, but he's going to have to move to Pennsylvania as if he won. He'd have to live in the governor's mansion. He has to live in the state.
No, he's running for Senate, not governor.
Oh, Senate. So he doesn't even have to have a home there.
No, and Congress makes the laws, and they make the laws to benefit themselves. And you can be in the Congress and not live in the state that you are represented from. They shouldn't
elect somebody who isn't even from there, doesn't even want to plan on living there. I like electing officials.
I'm sure he'll get a place
that are from the state. I think that's the way it should be. Like DeSantis is a Florida guy. He grew up in Florida, went to school in Florida in younger years, and obviously went on to Harvard and stuff. But I like politicians that at least have lived in the state a long time and understand each state is different. I don't think you can be a New Yorker and then understand all the things that Pennsylvania deals with. And he's going to be seen as a carpetbagger. Well, and I think that's going to hurt him.
Now I got two stories here on him. I'm going to start with the least of the problems. He's got two problems this week. Okay. Here's the first one. Dr. Oz, he spoke out on that transgendered swimmer, the biological male who swims with the women now. Dr. Oz on trans swimmer, we have to have compassion for the trans swimmer.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He's done.
Here's the thing.
He's a liberal.
Here's the thing. This guy... Well, this woman was born a man who's swimming with the girls.
It's a man.
With
long hair.
The female swimmers have come out and said that there's no chance to beat them.
No.
They're too outmatched. And I believe that any woman who was picked to be in I don't know, I guess they have swim meets, a meet with him, they should not participate. They should get I think they should all drop on the board.
Yep.
They should get on the board and let him jump in by himself.
I agree with you completely.
And swim alone.
I agree with you completely.
And run him out of swimming. This guy, he's broke every time he swims.
They should refuse to compete with him.
Yeah, and go out there and do it, but don't jump in. Make a display out of it.
I agree.
And let him jump in alone. And he can win all the races swimming against himself. And he's breaking records.
I think that's going to happen.
He's breaking records. And you had pointed this out to me, Kathy. I didn't realize. I heard he was breaking records. He's breaking records by like 35 seconds and 38 seconds.
40 seconds.
And usually, in swimming at least, records are broken by like hundredths of a second.
Because they're all equally matched.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. It's kind of like in wrestling. You wrestle in your weight class. Okay, you're not going to fighting. You're not going to put Mike Tyson in the ring with a guy who weighs 100 pounds. You have a weight class for fighting. You have a weight class for wrestling, and certain sports are broken up by gender because all things have to be relative. Everything has to be fair, and they have to be kind of on an equal playing field. You know what I mean? But
that's why you have women's sports and male sports.
Right. I don't understand why this guy
varsity and JV
is enjoying beating everybody when it's like he's fighting 5-year-olds or swimming against kids. I mean, how is there a victory in that when he knows his body mass index muscle wise? I mean, his muscle mass is far greater than any woman he's going to. Swimmers are extremely muscular, especially the men. If you look at them in the Olympics. When they swim, like Michael Phelps, their shoulders are huge. Their arms are huge because they use their upper body so much. So, and then if you look at the female swimmers, they're big too, but not nearly like the guys. There's a huge difference in not only that, in the length of your arms. The reason Michael Phelps did so well, he had huge feet and he was very tall. He had a huge arm reach, when he did the butterfly and did other things. So this guy's arm span is probably a foot bigger, 6 inches on each side. His hands are bigger. His feet are bigger. All that stuff takes into effect your swimming speed.
He's a cheater.
That's exactly right.
He couldn't,
and he knows it.
He couldn't be a superstar swimming with the men, so he went to swim with the girls.
The question
He's a cheater.
The question is this guy going to go to the Olympics as a woman? Now that would be interesting. The next Summer Olympics are coming up.
Well, yeah.
When I think in 2024, right?
They're all messed up now because of COVID.
Or 2020. Yeah, I'm not sure when. If it's 2022 or 24, but anyway, whenever they are, the question will be, because if he's breaking all these records, he's going to qualify to go, obviously. And
no, he shouldn't be allowed.
Let's see if he ends up going
shouldn't
to
be
the
allowed.
Olympics.
But so anyway, so Dr. Oz coming out in favor of that is not good.
No,
that's not good. I'm not opposed to transgender people. If somebody wants to be trans, like these Matrix directors or the swimmer,
who cares?
That's cool. But don't, the Wachowskis we were talking about, they're now girls. I don't think they should be, like they give out these awards and honors to female directors. They shouldn't even be getting those. I mean,
they might.
Because it's but anyway, so Dr. Oz came out and said he's in favor of that. That's bad news. Now he's had a really bad thing happen.
Uh-oh.
Listen to this. This is in Mediaite. Dr. Oz, I'm going to read this to you. This is insane. And it's only a matter of time before the recording of this goes public. Dr. Oz did not want to talk to New York Magazine reporter Olivia Nuzzi for a profile on his run for the Senate. But he ended up providing her with ample comments after trying and failing to hang up the phone when she called.
Oh, my God. This guy's a medical doctor, right?
Nuzzi is the reporter. She released a profile on Dr. Oz.
Oh, boy.
They kicked off with a description of the difficulties she faced in trying to interview anybody from his campaign. Because of the media reluctance of people on Dr. Oz's team, Nuzzi decided to try contacting the television personality personally.
This is a train wreck.
Along with his wife, Lisa Oz. To Nuzzi's surprise, Mrs. Oz did pick up the phone, but she hung up almost instantly. Nuzzi decided to call again to see if that was deliberate. And
you can't win if you're not going to talk to the press, unless you're Joe Biden.
And that led to a tense exchange between the two. This is in the article. And it's only a matter of time. I'm sure she's got a recording of this. How did you get my number? Dr. Oz's wife asked sharply. I told her that the number was listed in public records, and this annoyed her, too. Oh, she said. I should have gotten rid of that. I was about to explain that public records don't work that way, but she cut in. Have a nice day, she said. But it sounded like a cross between the way women of the South say, bless your heart, and men in Brooklyn call some, she uses the word here, a-hole pow after being cut off in traffic. Then she hung up. As it turns out, Mrs. Oz did not hang up the phone.
Oh, Mrs. Oz didn't hang up the phone.
No.
Oh.
Newsy says Mrs. Oz had mistakenly connected her device to what sounded like the sound system of a vehicle, I guess the Bluetooth.
Oh.
Meaning as they engaged in...
oh, my gosh. The Bluetooth kicked in. That pesky old Bluetooth.
Meaning as they engaged in paranoid conversation, which, by the way, is Mrs. Oz with Dr. Oz, is the we are. Meaning that as they engaged in paranoid conversation and argument for more than 4 minutes, I remained on the line hearing every word of it. Here is how that went.
Oh, boy.
Who's down at the office? Mrs. Oz asked. She's down at the office, Dr. Oz says. Your father called and said there's a reporter from the New Yorker waiting for me down there who said she had an appointment. We had an appointment to meet today? He said this last thing with acid sarcasm. You think she made this up, Mrs. Oz said. I think she made it up completely, Dr. Oz said. He sounded angry. You know what it is? It's called lying. Also, it's called being a liar. This effing girl reporter, Mrs. Oz said. This is the girl reporter who broke into some guy's house and stole all his photo albums? She was referring to an accusation made up by disgraced ex-Trump aide Corey Lewandowski in retaliation after I reported details of his single white male obsession with a White House official. Newsy went on to say she also heard the Oz's complaining about Michelle Bouchard, a family friend who spoke to Newsy. It was part of the call that confirmed Newsy's suspicion that Mrs. Oz was telling her acquaintances, don't effing talk to Newsy, because of the hit piece she was supposedly assembling. Newsy said that when she spoke to Bouchard, she said that Dr. Oz's Senate candidacy was part of a new guard of Republicans that emerged, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on.
That's not that bad.
He used the F word and called her a lot. No. Dr. Oz used the F word. Dr. Oz used the F word. It goes on, and I'm sure she's got a recording of that, and and that'll make it out there.
This is what it is. Okay?
Don't get into politics, Dr. Oz.
No, he's going to destroy his
Drop
career.
Out.
This is he has such a cushy job, making millions of dollars, and he just, I guess, got bored. But this is like what you talk about, people that get into politics that aren't politicians. I'm all for it. I think we need more people that are not politicians to get into politics. Oh, yeah. But the problem is they're not savvy. They're not like, you know what I mean? Somebody who's a seasoned politician or works with politicians would never, that's an amateur mistake to do that, to like not check your phone, make sure your phone's off when you're on with a reporter. That's an amateur mistake. And that's what you're dealing with. He's not not seasoned. He's not savvy when it comes to these things. He's going to make a lot of tactical errors like this.
That's a big one.
Because and probably the people running his campaign are probably like third and fourth stringers. You know what I mean? They're not the top people. Maybe I'm guessing that because maybe he can't get those kind of people working for him. So, because I feel like everybody right now sees this as a joke. It's an exercise in vanity.
Dr. Oz?
Yeah, it's an exercise in ego. And I just feel like the people around him, obviously there's going to be there'll be a lot of infighting over this. And him and his wife are going to fight over this. And other people are going to get in trouble over this. But there's going to be many problems. It'll be fun to watch.
Well,
with his
he figures.
I have a feeling
he figures because
this is one of the first of many.
Yeah, he figures because COVID is such a big thing that people want a doctor they can trust in office.
He's no Rand Paul,
and he's not very trustworthy or very competent either.
If that's what a lot of people are going to think. Like if he can't even hang up a phone in the middle of a conversation with a reporter, and then
that's not good.
Goes on and on, that makes him look really
That's not
inept.
good. Now, I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters. Thank you all for supporting the show. Your support does help us out a lot. And if you would like to support the show, a great way to do that is by becoming a Patreon supporter. There's a link in the description of this and every episode and on my website, briancraigshow.com, to our Patreon page. And the direct link is patreon.com/RealBrianCraigShow. Patreon.com/RealBrianCraigShow. And I want to give a thank you to our top Patreon supporters, Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Jacqueline, Rick, Rich, and Nick. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Many times we hear that crises are opportunities, but to understand this, it's necessary to change the focus of how we see the context. This way, we can notice the ways that allow us to undertake what we think of as the new and what we want to manifest in our universe. The book from author Christian Franchini, Creativity in Times of Pandemic, available on Amazon, provides readers with 11 keys to develop your creative potential. Keys that you can implement in your daily life and discover a new universe of possibilities that will propel you towards the singularity of being. Since we can understand creativity as a key to a new state of consciousness that connects us with infinite alternatives, this requires reformulating the old patterns of information and beliefs to enhance the creative process in all its dimensions. This must-read book is a great gift for anyone who wants to manifest a new beginning in their life. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Creativity in Times of Pandemic, from author Christian Franchini. Have you wanted to get involved in investing but didn't know how or even where to begin? Then visit ExoticExpansion.com. ExoticExpansion.com offer financial education and tools to help users just like you grow financially. And don't worry if you're busy at work. They will send you stock signals through text and Discord, so you just follow their calls on when to buy and sell. It's that easy. They offer monthly and yearly membership levels to fit your budget. Membership includes one-on-one coaching, full-time advice, and stock calls. There's a members area where you can view their weekly picks, have access to their top 20 verified stock picks that always are updating, as well as a net worth tracker, and there's a lot more too. ExoticExpansion.com's goal is to provide you with the education that will enable you to achieve your financial goals. ExoticExpansion.com also have an app that's available in the Android store. ExoticExpansion.com. Crypto, stocks, Discord, tech signals, long and short-term trading, value investing, options, and financial education. It's all at ExoticExpansion.com. Now available on Amazon, the newest book from author J.N. Jameson, The Black Crescent. The Black Crescent is a sea adventure and fantasy time travel novel. Trapped behind enemy lines on an uncharted island, 2 days ago, rescue skipper Jim McGraw and his crew left on a distress call to save a boat on the high seas. Now, they vanished without a trace. Pulled through a mysterious black wall, they landed on a tropical island overrun by Viking warriors. How can these 21st century rescuers help the desperate islanders take back their nation? Find out when you read The Black Crescent from author J.N. Jameson, available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon. Author J.N. Jameson served in the United States Coast Guard for over 20 years as a navigator, search and rescue skipper, and master training specialist. He brings his knowledge and experience in true life rescues at sea into this must-read book, The Black Crescent. Order your copy right now on Amazon. From author Sylvia Greif comes the young adult fiction book Ella Green and the Kingdom of Abood, available on Amazon. This is book one of a trilogy and introduces readers to Ella Green, a 14-year-old girl. Her first adventure reveals the mysterious bond she shares with Mother Nature and her encounter with the wise tree, charting her own self-discovery along the way with the help of her best friend Joe and her loving uncle, who unwillingly has to lay bare an unbelievable secret. Ella summons all her courage to face the many dangers along the road. The adventure starts in the present day at Waldig Boarding School on the shores of Lake Geneva in Switzerland. As Mrs. Green drives her daughter back after the summer holidays, Ella has no idea that the discovery of an ancient bracelet and a scroll she found at an antique desk will change her life forever. The formidable school is the connecting link in an adventure that will time travel readers through the continents and centuries in search of the mysterious kingdom and the magical book of Name, the most powerful manuscript ever written. Ella Green and the Kingdom of Abood from author Sylvia Greif, available on Amazon. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. You know, this is a story. I heard about this story when the infrastructure bill was being discussed, and there was so much going on. We didn't focus in on it, and I've been hearing from a lot of people about this, and there was even an article in the Daily Caller about it, and now it's real, and it's something we got to talk about. And this sounds like science fiction, but it is a reality. This is from a news website about cars and trucks. It's called musclecarsandtrucks.com. They have an article about this, but this has been reported, as I said, in the Daily Caller and in other mainstream places. And this is really scary, and it goes really into the country that we're living in now. This country is not the same country it was a year and a half ago. This country is not as free as it was a year and a half ago, and it's getting less free all of the time. Listen to this. Deep within Joe Biden's infrastructure bill is a passage that will require automakers to begin including a vehicle kill switch within the operating software of new cars. The measure has been positioned as a safety tool. See, this is what all the anytime the tyrants come after you, it's all for safety.
Yes.
Right? It's all for the public good. The measure has been positioned as a safety tool to help prevent drunk driving. And by 2026, the kill switch will be mandated on every new car sold in the United States.
How does it work?
Yeah, well, it's vague, but we have some information. According to the Daily Caller, the legislation, while short on details, it's known to be a proposed safety device that will passively monitor the performance of a driver of a motor vehicle to accurately identify whether that driver may be impaired. It'll monitor you, like your Alexa and things like that do. In software terms, passively suggests the kill switch will always be running in the background and constantly monitoring the vehicle for deviation from normal driving habits, which will also mean the vehicle will need to learn your specific idiosyncrasies. I've never seen idiosyncrasies written out before. I've used the word and heard the word, but I've never seen it written out. Don't ask me how to spell it. I can look at the word here written and spell it. Behind the wheel in order to better profile your behavior. The system will receive data inputs from critical operation controls. It will be capable of overriding those controls to disable the vehicle before or during driving once impairment is detected. However, the worst part of the legislation is the open nature of the system, which will feature at least one backdoor for third-party access to the system's data at any time. See, like your Alexas and all that. How the kill switch system will determine impairment and be able to distinguish impairment from drowsiness is unknown. It goes on and on. So
yeah, exactly.
Basically what they're doing, the government, this is already passed. This is in the infrastructure bill that passed. This is not in the Build Back Better failure. This is in what is already passed. So the government has passed a bill into law that is going to allow the government to monitor your driving. And if they're monitoring your driving, one of the things I'm sure that they're doing is monitoring what's being said. So this system could even be set up to monitor keywords, and if certain keywords or phrases are used, the kill switch could take over the car. I know this sounds crazy, but they passed this into law. This is Big Brother.
I remember them talking about, your phones already track you. And
but it doesn't have a switch to take control of your vehicle.
Your phones could be listening. You don't know.
But it can't control your vehicle. This will control your vehicle.
I remember them talking about having like a breath thing in your car that you had to breathe into. Remember they were talking about that for a while, and you had to breathe into it to start the car. And if you were drunk, your car wouldn't start.
Yeah.
But this seems like taking it to a whole other level.
Yeah, it's a pretty scary thing. And, Democrats think the more government, the better. They just think government control over everything in our lives.
Well, they love big government, like AOC.
The way it
just
should
loves big government,
be. We have almost, not quite, but almost a comment on Candace Owens' attack on President Trump through Peter Navarro. Peter Navarro commented.
Love Peter.
Now, we were talking, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but Candace Owens, after she interviewed President Trump last week, went on this tirade. We talked about it on the last episode, but just insulting President Trump in ways that I just still am in shock about. And, we've had Peter Navarro on this program, and as far as I'm concerned, when Peter Navarro talks about something like this is coming from Donald Trump. And
I'm sure they talk every day.
Oh, yeah, they talk all the time, and Peter Navarro is still working for President Trump. And I'll read you what he said here, but I believe he and President Trump talked about this Candace Owens thing, and this is what President Trump told Peter Navarro to say. President Trump, I think, didn't want to publicly come out about it yet because I don't think he wanted to dignify her or her comments. But Peter Navarro...
Well, he dignified her with an interview, which was a mistake.
Well, I don't know if he'll be doing that anytime soon again.
I don't think so.
I hope not.
I don't think she's worthy of interviewing him. I'm sorry.
Now, this is in, certainly not anymore, this is in Mediaite as well. Peter Navarro took aim at Candace Owens on Monday for suggesting his former boss was too old to understand the facts on vaccines, saying that she likes to go viral.
That's for sure. She's a big troll.
And he said she likes to go viral, and I'm not going to take medical advice from Candace Owens.
What she does is now celebrities, I think, are finally catching on. But she would attack celebrities, mainly black celebrities, like rappers, and she had a big fight with Cardi B and other people, I guess because she's in that black community. But she has a tactic of, and it's worked for her well, where she goes after a very famous person, and she typically will get that person to respond to her attack. That's a troll. And then she's in the Daily Mail, she's in the New York Post, and that's how she's elevated her career. And I think somebody had said in your chat the other day when you were talking about her, they described her perfectly. She's an opportunist.
That's correct.
Absolutely. 110%. Nothing wrong with being ambitious. Just know what she's all about. That's okay. She can go, success, that's wonderful. It's in America. You can do whatever you want. But just understand her main motivation in life is her own blind ambition, no matter who she hurts.
You're right. And Kathy,
that's what she uses people to catapult herself.
I'll tell you what, I stand by everything I said about Candace Owens previously, so I'm not going to go through all that again. But there's something you got to understand about that. She's a millennial, about the millennial generation. The viral people like her. Yeah.
They live for that. They live for likes and clicks and going viral.
Yeah, they are the most self-centered generation we've ever had. Now, they used to say, like in the 80s, they used to talk about yuppies, young urban professionals, like the Wall Street people, like Charlie Sheen and Wall Street, that they were selfish. It was all about money and me.
What did yuppie stand for?
Young urban professionals.
Young urban professionals, that's right.
But that's not... That's really not the case about that generation. This generation, all they care is how many likes, how many views, how many retweets, how many hearts, being on the viral trending page, and all of this.
And you realize that's not really work.
And they don't.
It's not really a job.
Well, it's lucrative,
but it's lucrative.
She's made. They make a lot of money. But so it's Candace Owens is not alone. It's that the millennial generation of people that
they grew up on social media
that's all they care about.
No, their whole life revolves.
That's all they care about. So I think a lot of times millennials do and say crazy things without any thought about what it means, the recourse, what their consequences will be, because they just want to go trending. Like you see these. How many times have you seen a story of an Instagrammer falling to their death because they're trying to get some epic picture off the edge of a cliff or something?
It's happened more than once.
Yeah, and and that's kind of what she did. She's with this thing. She's kind of like one of those Instagrammers that's hanging off the cliff for this perfect picture, and then they fall to their death. That's kind of like what she did here. And I am not defending her, and I stand by everything I said, but I think that she's not aware. She's too consumed.
She's very self-consumed.
Being trending on Twitter for millennials like her it's to them what crack and hookers are to Hunter.
Right. And she rose very quickly to top levels with very little effort. And, going around giving speeches, I understand she was doing that, but that's not really hard work. And it was really handed to her very quickly. I mean, she has gone from being a regular person on Periscope to now interviewing the president.
And maybe probably a millionaire, too.
Which is something reporters work their decades for, which may never happen. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
She hasn't put any work into that. She's just been elevated for various reasons. She's a woman. She's black. She's pretty. Those three things have helped her for sure and make her stand out in the Republican movement. She's well-spoken. She's, it takes on people. She's not afraid of bantering and arguing and things like that, and people are drawn to her. But I feel she's a troll. Like I've said, she is an opportunist. I feel that she uses people to elevate herself. And fine, a lot of people do that. That's how a lot of people get ahead in this world. But I'm just saying, understand her motivation and understand where she's coming from. She's getting a ton of publicity out of this, which is what Peter Navarro said, what she lives for.
Yeah.
She's been all over. People have been talking about it. So she's not going to change because it works for her.
Well,
she's like Madonna.
Okay,
you know what I mean? It just works well for her. And everything she does is controversial, makes her even more wealthy, more famous. She knows how to play the game.
No, and then people get arrogant. And you mentioned Madonna. Madonna used to be a big deal. And then she took her fame for granted and went and lived in England for how many years with Guy Ritchie. People forgot about her.
Yeah, that's what
and now
destroyed
she's
her career.
washed up.
Yeah.
Glenn Beck almost destroyed his career coming out against Trump in 2015 and the 2016 campaign, being a never Trumper back then. He's never recovered from it fully. He does, and remember, he had that huge event in the Washington Mall where he had all those people came out at the Lincoln Memorial. Very big. He was really a bigger star than people can, I think, remember. He's never recovered from taking advantage. You see, what happens with these people, with the newly famous, okay? With the new, and I've seen this a lot, I'm not famous, but I've been doing radio for so long. I've had a little bit of that, you know what I mean? I'm not at that level, obviously, But I'm used to people having listeners and people knowing me for my entire adult life. And when I see people that become newly famous, oftentimes they get these God complexes, Charlemagne to God. They get these God complexes where they're almost like they think of themselves in the way a cult leader thinks, that they can sway people in any direction they want, and they take their followers, their listeners, and their viewers for granted do things like Beck did and Candace Owens just did. I never take any of you guys out there listening for granted. I appreciate every listener. But I see this happen a lot, and that's the downfall of a lot of people. And Peter Navarro, see, we're outside, hear the birds. All the birds have flown south for the winter. We're in Florida.
There's a whole grouping right there, yeah. All the crows fly together in groups of 30.
Yeah, I know. So we have more birds in Florida now than ever because it's the winter time. But so I think this is kind of the beginning of either a realization from Candace Owens or things are going to turn on her.
Somebody had sent me a video of a guy who was supposedly a Trump person and a black guy, I can't remember his name, and he was agreeing with her and saying that this was a deal breaker for him with Trump saying on the vaccine. But then I was reading the comments of his video, and every comment was supporting Trump and saying, look, he doesn't agree with mandates. So that's all that matters to me. Mm-hmm. It's the issue of the mandates. Nobody is going to fault him for promoting the vaccines. They would fault him if he said we need to lock down. Trump will never lock down anything ever again.
And there'll be no mandates
at all. In fact, I think he's going to run on that if they're
mandates.
Still going on. Even Biden hasn't imposed any more mandates now. Since he came out the other day and said that there's no room for the federal government.
Well, even Peter Navarro in this talk that Peter Navarro said, he said with Trump there will be no lockdowns.
Right, and now that Biden said there's really no role of the federal government in fighting COVID, DeSantis and Kristi Noem have called for him to lift all mandates off travel and everything, because if there's no role for federal government, then those mandates should all be lifted.
Yeah, now
according to his own words.
I wanted to talk about this last thing before we go, and that's Joe Biden. He was talking to the governors yesterday, and this is when I'm not going to play the clip. I don't need to hear his voice again, but he said there's no role for federal government in solving the COVID crisis. This is what's going on here. He has failed. Okay, he's failed on everything, but he's failed on COVID too. And, there's more deaths now than last year when there were no treatments. And so he has failed. He's failed. So all of a sudden the federal government has no role. And the media, while this is being reported, the media have let him off the hook for this. But this is just because he's failed. They have no way out of it, him and Kamala. So they say, well, the federal government doesn't really have a role in this anyway.
That's right. This is his out. All of a sudden, after they've been bossing us around and trying to control our lives, trying to control our movements, trying to control everything, they're realizing that is a completely failing strategy. The numbers have only gone up. The deaths have gone up. There's more deaths, more cases now than there were when Trump was in office. It's been a total S show. So now they're changing tact, which is what they do. They change the messaging. And now they're doing what you said. Now they're saying, well, it's really not our responsibility. There really is no role for us. Well, then what the hell have you been doing the last 2 years? So that's why DeSantis and Noem are now calling for him to stay out of it completely. I do agree with what Biden is saying in that regard, that it really is up to the states. And I've always felt
that's
that
what DeSantis has said.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what Trump said a lot of times. So all of a sudden now they're saying it because they're completely incompetent. And they're trying to make you think that they didn't see this new variant coming. Well, we've known about it for months. It came in South Africa. We've known about it for a long time, and they could have done something like they talked about ordering more tests or this or that or trying to, whatever they could do. They did nothing, and now they're looking like totally incompetent like they are. But, I agree. They just need to their job to me is not to impose mandates or lockdowns or anything like that, is to make sure the states have what they need to fight this virus. Make sure they have enough testing sites. Make sure they have enough help. Make sure they have enough testing kits. Make sure they have enough medication to treat it. That's their job, okay? Yeah. Like if a state is running low on Regeneron or running low on these new medications that were just approved, make sure they get what they need. That's their only job. Their job is not to force businesses to close down. People are so sick of all this crap, and they're finally backing down from this. Yep. Because people are just absolutely tired of it all.
Well, we're all out of time, but we'll talk to you next time. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for listening, guys.